Again, it's my favorite day where I get to sit down and talk with my daughter, Kaylie, about all sorts of different spiritual topics. Today we were discussing that we always kind of go over our readings for the week or the month and kind of pick some stuff out through there that we feel the collective might benefit from. And today we're talking about the feeling of feeling stuck and just when we're in that place, whatever it is, our career, our relationship, our life, just that feeling of stuck, and what are some things we can do to just start to move that energy in that area so we don't have that paralyzing feeling of, so.
I even want to just start by trying to figure out, like, how does it feel to feel stuck, or how does someone first become aware of the fact that they're stuck? Because sometimes we can, like I said, it's so easy to go throughout these days where we're not being aware of how we're feeling or what's going on inside of our bodies, or if our body is extra tense or in fight or flight mode and all of that kind of stuff. And I feel like it is kind of all connected to the feeling of feeling stuck in an area of your life. I feel like it helps, we say this all the time, to start by slowing down. When you can find these moments to slow down, that is where the awareness comes from. That's where the self-awareness, the consciousness comes from, to allow you then to figure out, how are you feeling and what are you needing, and how you can move forward. So I think step one to getting unstuck is slowing down and realizing that you're feeling stuck in a certain area.
100%. I feel another thing, us as mediums, we talk about this all the time too, like we get stuck. We get stuck all the time in different areas of our life. And that's why I'm so grateful to do this work, because I'm constantly like working on myself with every reading and the things that come through. So I can talk firsthand. Some feelings of feeling stuck is like when you feel not so well anymore in a situation. It could be a job, it could be a relationship, whatever. You start to feeling disconnected from yourself, disconnected from the joy, and there's too much like normal patterning maybe going on, where then you have the way I look at it, you have a taste of something else, whether you read a book and your mind is open to, this person was stuck and moved forward this way, or whatever it is, or you talk to a friend, or you have your own personal experience that feels different from the heaviness that you're in. So I feel like then you have that contrast of... but then there comes choices, and then stuck can come in with that. So I think it's like an evolution of a feeling maybe, because there's different stages within it. But
I agree with that too. I don't think it's like you're stuck and then you get unstuck. I think there's definitely stages, but those stages are where the learning comes from, where the growth comes from. And so that's why it's all important. That's why they always say, life isn't about the end result, because we all end the same way. It's about the journey that, unfolds as life continues. And I think that's exactly.
And that's why I start out saying, like, we're mediums too. We get stuck because when we hear this information, and it all goes back to any change, any belief, and it's clearing the old belief, welcoming in something new that better fits you today. Because the truth is we change all the time, some more rapidly, and sometimes it feels like it's years and then a change. But we are always changing. So when I hear things, that's why I'm like, I'm excited for this topic, because I can already see where I'm stuck in some places.
Yeah.
And the number one thing you said is slowing down. And for me, I think I want to hear something I've never heard before. I want to hear like this life-changing sentence that I'm like, I haven't tried that. I'm going to do that. But I really feel like it is the basic. It's going back to that basic practice of number one, slowing down. And then what else?
Well, I was just, something that's coming to mind for me as we're kind of talking about this is noticing, and I think you said this before we started, but noticing where it's coming up in your body, or noticing what you're feeling in your body is a good indication of what you're feeling internally and emotionally. So if your body is feeling very like tight or restricted, or you're shallow breathing, or there's an anxiety, like that type of stuff, it's a good indication that there's something going on emotionally, whether it's feeling stuck or anything else. It's just sometimes it's easier for people. Sometimes there can be a lot of emotions or like self-awareness in that way can be very hard or confusing for people. So I feel like if you start with something you can physically see and feel, it might be a good way, for somebody, at home to start tuning into themselves, is start with your physical body. Like, how does your physical body feel? Are your shoulders up to your ears? Can you roll them down? That type of thing.
I have a example, I guess. So going to a friend's house, I went to a friend's house over the weekend, and there was more people there than expected, which is always challenging for me because I don't even know why, but it is. But so then I can feel myself closing down, almost like what you were saying, like you feel it. But that was me. That's how I could feel when I'm in any kind of social setting.
Yeah.
That is my normal feeling. Yeah. So when you're in, and I'm with my own friends, like, this is fun. This is not like, nobody's judging me. Maybe they are, I don't know. But what would you suggest? So when you start to feel that?
That's where that awareness comes into. So starting to notice that, and then number one, doing what you can physically to change, because when you move your physical body in one way, it starts to make energetic and internal shifts. I really do believe that. That's why going for walks or running or working out are so beneficial for your internal and like emotional and spiritual bodies, because when you move what you can control first, it helps bring clarity. So understanding that first, seeing where you are seeing yourself, like either step away or step out of the group, or if you're acting a certain way, if you're, sitting, hunched over, like let yourself sit up straight. All these little physical things make a huge difference. And I want to share that because when I was in, I think, junior year, I think it was junior year of high school, I had this one teacher in my speech class, and before each speech day started, where all the students had to give their speech, she would make us stand up and stand in Superman pose. So we'd have to sit up or stand up straight, good posture, put our arms just like this and have our feet wide, and just take a couple deep breaths. And she talked about how there's literal scientific evidence on how that, affects your next steps or how you feel about yourself. Just as something as simple as your posture and the way you bring yourself to the table.
Why did you teach me that? This is the first time I'm hearing of that.
So anything.
Okay. So basically set yourself up.
Yes.
Is it like fake it till you make it?
In a way, but even like just when you do that, like think about the difference you feel then. You feel stronger. You feel more secure at your core. Like that's what that is. And it does something energetically. So for everyone trying at home, like stand up and stand in that Superman pose and just take a couple, deep breaths and see how you feel after, because it does. I don't know how to explain it, but for whatever reason, it does something to you that brings this energy of like strength, like this internal strength and connection with
and that's
yourself.
What's happening in the moment, like at a friend's house. I'm feeling maybe not part of the conversation, or maybe maybe I'm tuning into something I'm not liking in the conversation. Whatever the story I'm telling myself in that moment is, maybe I'm not feeling so strong. I'm feeling weakened, or like I just want to disappear type of feeling.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So it's not saying you got to go hide in a room and stand in Superman at the party.
I have to go to the bathroom. I gotta go to the bathroom again. Where's Carol going?
Yeah, no.
Oh, she's looking funny in the mirror, standing. Yeah.
But you could, set yourself up, just sit differently, or, and then also just internal things to watch, like how were your thoughts? Are you obsessing over, what is this person thinking about me? Or how can I contribute to this, conversation? Or I don't relate to them at all. What am I supposed to say or do? If we can get out of our heads, that way. I think I shared this in one of the last podcasts, like to get out of your head, all you have to do is start listening. Like just start listening to what these people are saying. And even if they're saying something, at face value, there's always more to what someone is saying, and that could bring up other topics of conversation, as well. Sometimes, I mean, it's not our job, but sometimes you can get other people, to start thinking a different way just by sharing your perspectives and what you have to share. So all of that stuff, I feel like, but it starts with noticing and then seeing the little things that you can do to change, that feeling in that moment.
So if someone has a choice to make about anything, say like a job, and they're presented with, something like that, and they're feeling like stuck. Why do they feel stuck? I have talked to some people who have said things like, what if it's not the dream job that I thought it was? Like, what if, even though they know where they work, they're comfortable, they don't hate their job, everything is going good, but this other thing was presented to them, and they're like, oh, I never even thought of working there, but now I almost want to. It feels exciting or whatever. And again, their other job is not terrible. So they feel stuck, and they feel like they can't make this decision and then the pressure comes as it's like there's a deadline, they have to know.
I think for me, something that I've learned is, or that I remind myself so strongly of, is that this is my life and I'm in control of my life, and I'm in control of what the outcome of my life is. What do I want my life to look like? I am so strong in that belief of you are creating your life, and not just, energetically or what's coming up for you. I'm talking about the end result. What happens for you, your success, whatever success means to you is up to you. Nobody's going to create that for you. And so when I remember that, it also strengthens my belief that I need to do what feels right for me and what is going to bring me those feelings of excitement or joy or fulfillment or alignment. Maybe something's not exciting or joyful, maybe it's something that scares me, but there's still this sense of alignment with it for whatever reason in that moment that I feel the need to, move forward with it. So remembering all of that, I feel like helps me to make choices to move forward. That's also to say I also have this strong belief, and I'm always reminding myself and the people that I talk with, that there never is a right or wrong decision. It's just, what do you want to do with what you have at hand?
Well, I think this particular client, she wasn't looking for another job. She wasn't she didn't even want it. Like, it wasn't even in her she wasn't trying to create her next step. She felt pretty good where she was. So anyway.
Well, but that just goes with moving, like that could happen with anything in any situation. There's always something new that, comes into your awareness. It's just choosing what do you want, and then moving forward.
Because she is stuck, I felt that's something to look at in itself. So maybe she couldn't just decline the new offer and stay where she's at, because otherwise why would she feel stuck? Do you know what I mean? Like, she feels stuck because now she's put in a position to make a choice when she didn't have a choice before, and she wasn't even looking for another option.
I would even say, like, even after that, choice is made or whatever, then look into, your belief systems, because that's something that's been coming up a lot for me lately, is like, what is that client's belief systems about herself? And what she wants, because if she knows what she wants but she won't let her, if you know what you want and you're not letting yourself move in that direction, is there a belief system that tells you you can't have what you want, this world is full of sacrifices, or it's hard work, or having what you want equals pain or sacrifice, like all of that stuff. And I was just talking to someone about how your belief systems are so important with the outcome of your life or what's going on. And you have to notice the belief systems that you have about certain situations that are coming up for you, because when you do that, it helps you find clarity on such a deeper level about what's actually going on, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, yeah, just playing with everything that I just talked about, of seeing your power, of knowing your power. Like I was saying, like, we're the only ones that create our lives, and the outcome of our life is totally dependent on us, and whatever that means to us, whatever success means. But if you can know that, and also know that there is no right or wrong decision, you just have to move in whatever direction you are feeling pulled to move, know that it's gonna be okay. And it's just another journey, it's just another path to walk down, where you're gonna learn things that you need to learn, and it's gonna serve you eventually, even if you don't totally understand it now. That's why it's not our job to know what the future is going to be, or what things are going to mean for us, and what is this path going to create for me. That's not our job to know. It's just our job is to make moves that feel right and in alignment to us, because that's all we can control.
Mm-hmm.
And not having the judgment of, is this the right decision? Is this the wrong decision? Or making a decision, going down this road, and it turns to be, in one perspective, a huge mistake, and like the worst thing you could have ever done. And you can sit in that perspective a little bit. I'm sure it would be understandable, but also, like we talked about in the last episode, asking yourself, now, how did this situation serve me going down this path? What are things that I learned that I didn't know before that might help me on this next path,
Mm-hmm.
that I'm trying to go on? So keeping all of those things in mind, I feel like, is really going to help somebody to stop feeling as stuck as they feel, and maybe start to make little choices to move forward.
Yeah, and I share something that I learned and still practice. I just learned it recently on a more larger scale. But how do you feel? How do you feel? Like the mantra of just tuning into how do you feel?
Mm-hmm.
Because I know, we're essentially have been programmed since we've been born, unfortunately, even though
Mm-hmm.
give or take some parenting allow, the child to express themselves, but we still are born into these rules of the home, of the, how life should be, what a relationship should be, all of the things. And so we're not really encouraged much to see how do you feel because we are going, how do you feel within the context of these rules and these things that are put on you? That's a different story. So now when we get older, just tuning into how do you feel, and that coincides with the belief systems.
Mm-hmm.
And just starting to see where you may have a different belief, or something may come up for you that isn't what you were taught or what you grew up in, or who knows. But
And not rushing it. Like, if you're feeling stuck, don't rush. I mean, yeah, there might be some external pressures, like if there's a job offer and you have to make a decision, but don't try your best to let go of that rushed feeling. Or if you are rushed, if there is a physical deadline that you have to meet, finding those times to slow down will help things feel not as rushed. Taking conscious time to sit with yourself, or tune in with yourself to what am I feeling, and what am I needing, what am I wanting, and all of that stuff. But if there is no deadline, then know that there really is no deadline. If this is more of an internal thing, there's no, there's just no deadline. You have to honor yourself and where you're at, and also trust where you're at, and trust the things coming into your awareness or coming into your knowledge are all coming when they're supposed to be coming. And all of that. I just shared something with a client the other day. I wonder if I could remember it. It was something like, you learn things when you're supposed to learn things. And so honoring that as well. And not trying to rush things or rush your growth or rush your expansion either, because there is a divinity in where you are and what's being, created in front of you in this moment. And so it's honoring all parts of that, all parts of everything that's coming up for you.
Yeah, I was just thinking as you're talking, and rush. And sometimes you have a sense of, I got to do this, and that's okay too. Because I remember after my stroke, I read 50 books that year, and I've never read a book in a day in my life. So
that's
this
one
was,
a week.
That's
one
it
a
was
week.
and I have not read in 6 years that way. But back then, that's one thing that happened. I was always in a class. One could say, rush. But I also, there was a time, there's a time for everything. So sometimes there's a time to, if you're feeling, I was excited throughout. I was, driven throughout. So that's good. So then in the low times where it's like, what am I sitting for still? Is there something? But another mantra I wanted to say when you were talking too is that I say is nothing is forever. And I didn't want to say that before because I label myself as a forever person. That's my heart. That's my loyalty to whatever it is. I'm a forever. But at the same time, then I think of my mom who passed away 4 years ago and how I've needed her so much in the last couple of years. And she has been very close. But then I think nothing is forever. Nothing is forever. But also, we will have all the answers too. I feel that. So at the same time, is nothing is forever. So just do, just be, just.
Yeah. And it's like nothing is forever, but that's because we're human beings who are here to expand and to grow. And so you are needing new things. If something is forever, there's also a state of stuckness in that, if you can see that too. And so I just got chills, but really honoring, nothing is forever, because that's not how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to continue to keep growing and expanding in every way that we can, for sure. So if you are somebody at home, who is feeling stuck, just trying all of these things that we talked about, and it happens for every single person at one point or another. That's why I feel like it's so important to talk about these things. Like you said, you were the one sitting at this table having this conversation with you guys, but we get stuck all the time. It's not like we're outside of this conversation at all.
And I know for me, when I feel stuck, a lot of the times when I stop and pay attention to my energy, it's always in my head. It's back in my head. And I think it's kind of very natural for me now. So when I feel stuck, I tune in and I'm either worried. So I'm literally thinking about the future or trying to have it set out in my mind in a way where I'm like, okay, I can move forward because I already have it figured out. Or I'm in the past in a painful spot, reliving something and saying, this is why you can't move. This is whatever it is. This is why you're stuck. And so for me, a lot of it is that. A lot of it is distracting myself from the present moment, because the present moment, which I think you've shared many times, I forgot what exactly, but I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. But it's all we have is this moment in front of us, and we are okay in this moment. We are not stuck. We can go anywhere we want. We can think anything we want. We could do all these things in the present moment. So just acknowledging the energy or the feeling of, oh, I'm sorry you don't have the answers you want right now in this moment, but it's okay. It's okay. And you know what do you want to do right now or whatever. And that gets you out of the stuck feeling without even knowing it.
Yeah.
So present moment.
No, yeah. And just really quickly before we, finish up today, I was thinking about that too. And you had said something, about the like rushing when you read 50 books in a year, and then the slow part came down and you're like, what am I supposed to do? And I was just thinking, because I had this conversation with a mentor of mine, and I'm like, am I rushing my growth? Do I need to slow down? And but then I realized it's just this judgment. And so if at the same time, there's a lot of things that you got to keep in mind while doing this self-awareness is making sure that you're letting go of the judgment of it. Because, I heard a thought in my head a couple times. Am I rushing my growth? Am I doing too many things at once and all this stuff? And then when you said, like, no, when you were reading those books, you felt excited, you felt motivated. And, that's exactly how I feel with everything that I'm creating and doing. But I was placing this judgment on it that, it takes time to grow, or that you can't be too much or do too much.
And it's interesting because that's the energy that would drain you. The judgment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we think, see, I am drained because I'm busy and I'm going and I'm creating all this stuff and I'm going. But when we take a closer look, sometimes it's those voices, those one-liner sentences that are there that are still running, programmed in your subconscious, that you got to say, I hear you, but no, I'm excited about that, or
and
something.
That's what it is. If you're trying to find a choice to make you not feel stuck, it's finding that excitement. And when you were reading those 50 books, or finding that connection, that alignment, that joy, because like you said, that's not draining, that's fueling. It lifts you up. And so if you can find an option or a route or a solution or a path that allows you to feel more of those feelings, I would definitely say, go in that direction for sure. But thank you guys for tuning in today. This was a quick one. But it was also really, really fun. I got a lot of chills about a lot of the things that we were talking about. It flowed so good. Once again, not knowing what the heck we were going to say before we sat down. Sometimes
and my grandson is on his way here, so I'm extra excited.
But we will see you guys next time.
Bye.